All right, so second video for today. I just wanted to share with you some personal questions and conversation that a friend and I had on Facebook Messenger. But I told her that the answers to her question are worthy of a larger group. And so I'm going to go ahead and share that here. And I will tell you very quickly why it is I can't have this discussion with a larger group on TikTok. TikTok will not allow me to say what I'm going to tell you now. I do believe YouTube will allow me to say it. This is a test. I'm constantly testing what each platform is going to allow. I believe YouTube is more accepting of opinions and thought expression than TikTok. TikTok is very restrictive, and they have a group of moderators that are not consistent, that are shutting things down because they decide that it might be offensive to some people. I believe YouTube does this much less, which is why I'm testing YouTube by talking about things that I can't talk about on TikTok. So let's talk about that now. So my friend was asking me my thoughts about the whole Pam Bondi situation, Attorney General for the United States, who's directed the federal government in New York State to seek the death penalty against Luigi Mangione. And she was asking questions about whether or not that seems fair. Is it fair that people get told that they're going for the death penalty? Does that prejudice juries in the first place, knowing that they want to execute the person? And again, talking about Pam Bondi by name and her direction for them to execute Luigi Mangione or seek the death penalty, and Karen Agnifalo's response, which was to say that the healthcare system is a murderous system. And by the way, that Pam Bondi called Luigi Mangione a person who murdered Brian Thompson, a father of two. I can't say all that on TikTok, right? Because if I say Pam Bondi is calling Luigi Mangione a murderer who murdered an innocent man and father of two, that'll be flagged all over with the sensitive word of murder and Pam Bondi. And me suggesting that Pam Bondi is saying Luigi murdered somebody would be considered hate speech by TikTok, and they would immediately shut it down and flag me and then tell me that if I keep doing that shit, I'll be kicked off of TikTok. Now, none of that is not what actually happened. None of it is a lie. It is mainstream media. Let me repeat real quick what Pam Bondi did, what Karen said real quick, because I've talked about this at length in lives, and so if you watch my lives, I don't want to bore you with the whole thing. But then I'm going to get to my friend's question. Was it appropriate for Pam Bondi to do this? So Pam Bondi made an official statement by the Department of Justice, a press release that stated that she's directing the federal government to seek the death penalty against Luigi Mangione. I don't have a problem with that part. So my friend was asking if that was a problem. I don't have a problem with that part. If Pam Bondi wants to say that, hey, look, we need to be harder on crime, and so if you have a death penalty case that is worthy of the death penalty, then you should carry out your duties and seek the death penalty if it's a death penalty worthy situation. That's not a problem with me if she had left it with that, but she didn't. What she stated was Luigi Mangione murdered an innocent man. And as an Attorney General of the United States, she is basically a representative of the law, in my opinion. Our legal system is to assume or presume innocence until proven guilty in a court of law. For Pam Bondi, the Attorney General, to come out and tell you that Luigi Mangione murdered somebody is a horrendous overstatement for me. And it goes against the very principles of our nation, which is that you are innocent in this country until proven guilty in a court of law. Now, granted, here's where the gray area comes in, and this is what I was trying to explain to my friend. In court, the prosecution is allowed to say, this person did this crime, and they are guilty of it, and I want you to render a guilty verdict. They're allowed to do that. That's not a violation of the presumption of innocence. That's the job of the prosecution. We believe this person committed this murder, and I'm going to prove to you that he did, and when you find out the evidence against him, you should find him guilty and sentence him to death. That's their job. But in my opinion, and my understanding, and I could be wrong, but I don't think I am, Pam Bondi is not the prosecution. Pam Bondi is the U.S. Attorney General. She is acting on behalf of our entire legal system. She's not the prosecution. She should be standing up for people, as Attorney General, in my opinion, she should be standing up for people's presumption of innocence as much as the prosecution of guilt. She should be an impartial director of the legal system, which means we are to presume that Luigi Mangione is innocent until proven guilty. But if he's not, then you should prosecute him to the full extent of the law. That would be neutral. If he's guilty, then make sure that he gets the full punishment that is deserving. But she should not be saying Luigi Mangione murdered an innocent man and father of two, which is extremely prejudicial and completely an overstep of her boundary, in my opinion. Yes, the prosecution in the case can say, Luigi Mangione killed this man. We're going to tell you how he did it. We're going to prove to you that he did, and you should find him guilty, because that's their job in the court system. And that should be something that's told to the jury. That's not something that should be told to all of America necessarily. But anyways, I just wanted to clarify those points, because again, to clarify, I don't think I could have told you all those things on TikTok, because to explain to you all the words of murder and calling Luigi a murderer and calling Brian Thompson an innocent man and prejudicing everybody against Luigi by saying that he actually already murdered this man before he's had his first day in court, TikTok would say that I was promoting hate speech for supporting a murderer. Because in TikTok's world, it appears they also already believe that Luigi Mangione is guilty. And so therefore to suggest that he's not guilty means that you're supporting a murderer. So that's the logic I believe TikTok is honestly using. They believe at TikTok, for the most part, Luigi Mangione is a murderer, and anyone supporting the presumption of innocence is glorifying murder and supporting murder, and therefore is engaging in hate speech. Now, I'm hoping I'm hoping YouTube is smarter than that. That YouTube has better content moderators, and that YouTube would say, dude, I know what you're saying, and you're not violating something. So YouTube, have my back. I will support you to the end of the moon, and I will tell everybody that they need to go to YouTube if they want freedom of speech. But unless, of course, you decide that I've said Pam Bondi's name and murder and Luigi too many times in a row, and I get an automatic suspension, in which case we'll have a different conversation. That's it, everybody. Thank you for listening.